A story Eyewitness News was first to break today. The Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation facing backlash tonight. The photo that's being called disturbing, hurtful, and completely inappropriate.
And that's where we begin tonight at 6. The Cabinet Secretary for the Department of Military Affairs and Public Safety condemning this picture, and the future corrections officers who posed for it. It shows 37 members of a basic training class of the Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation doing a Nazi salute under a title that says Hail Bird, who was the name of the class instructor. And we do want to note DMAPs blurred the faces in this photo before they released it to us. Reaction was swift, both from the Justice Administration and a prominent member of Charleston's Jewish community.
But many questions remain about how such a picture could be taken in this day and age without someone speaking up and saying no. Lead I-Team reporter Kenny Bass here now with more. Kenny?
It is an interesting question, to say the least. This is certainly a situation where at some point in this chain of events, someone could have stepped forward and said, wait a minute, what are we doing taking this picture where future correctional officers are giving a Nazi salute? But that did not happen. And now more than 36 people are looking at a possible swift termination with an ongoing investigation determining the fate of many more. It's shocking when you see it. The Heil Hitler salute in a picture titled Hail Bird, the name of the instructor of the training course, performed by a graduating class of 37 West Virginia correctional officers. Secretary of Military Affairs and Public Safety Jeff Sandy says he was made aware of this picture on the day before Thanksgiving.
The Commissioner of Corrections, Betsy Jividen, called me and said, check your email. And I checked it and saw the photograph, and it just was so with disgust.
Sandy says the photo was taken to celebrate the cadets graduating from their 5-week training course in Glenville. To make matters worse, the picture was printed, copied, and placed in the graduation packets of each correctional officer.
Just terrible. It was a terrible, disrespectful, it was a very poor decision.
Sandy says he's already met with faith and community leaders about the photo, asking for their input and hoping to use their expertise to adjust the division's correctional officer training. Charleston Rabbi Victor Urecki was in that meeting. What was your reaction when you saw the picture?
It was deeply disturbing. It was shocking, hurtful. At first I was speechless. Upon reflection and listening to the people that were briefing us, I recognized it can't possibly be what West Virginians are all about, and I think that's what's very hurtful, because that's not the experience of, as a member of the Jewish people, what West Virginians are all about.
What would you tell people who would say, Rabbi, we understand it's serious. It is, but it's just a joke. They were just joking. What would you tell those people?
I don't know the hearts and minds of everyone, obviously. If it was done out of ignorance and stupidity, perhaps it is a chance for a teachable moment. If it's hateful, and we're seeing the rise of anti-Semitism, racism, hatred of others, then it's a disturbing trend that we need to address in a hurry, because this country cannot afford to have things like that happen.
Sandy says he's hopeful to have the investigation into the photo finished before Christmas so he can issue a report to the governor, who has already ordered the termination of all those that are found to be involved with the photograph.
So we want to analyze the information and complete the report and make that recommendation appropriately.
In his statement, Governor Justice added that the behavior depicted in the photograph will not be tolerated on his watch within any agency of state government. Of course, we'll keep you posted as things develop in this story. For now, reporting live in the studio, Kenny Bass, Eyewitness News.
I hope that after this, no one will ask me why I refer to law enforcement as the Ku Klux Klan, because the evidence is clear as day. The FBI themselves told you that law enforcement has been infiltrated by white supremacists back in 2006, even though we all know law enforcement has been filled with white supremacists decades upon decades before 2006. But I guess some individuals, and you all clearly know who I'm talking about, need photographic evidence after photographic evidence after photographic evidence after photographic evidence to get the point. And here is yet another photo. A photo with blurred faces and no names released. Not only should all these people be fired and not allowed to work for any branch of law enforcement or work in any correctional facility ever again, this photo should be the catalyst of an investigation into every West Virginia prison, jail, or correctional facility, just to be sure there hasn't been any quote-unquote suicides by the inmates recently. This is why I scoff at any type of mention of police or prison or criminal justice reform. The whole system and just about every devil within it is corrupt. It doesn't need reform. It needs to be deconstructed and rebuilt into something entirely different. It doesn't need reform. It needs to be purged of all the toxins within the laws and the enforcers of those laws. I'm sure this wasn't the first time, and I'm sure they weren't the first group to do this. They were all clearly comfortable posing for the picture. Whoever took the picture was clearly comfortable taking it, and whoever sent it out was clearly comfortable in doing that. This is not the only class that needs to be investigated. The entire West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation needs to be investigated. And never let white supremacy hide behind the concept of a joke. Attempting to hide behind quote-unquote comedy is an old white supremacist trick. Don't let them hide behind the guise of humor. Because if you go and look at any photos of blacks being lynched by a mob of whites, all of the whites are smiling and laughing. It's all fun and games until somebody ends up dead.